Am I the asshole for not including my sister-in-law in my wedding planning? In August, I, 23 female, got engaged to my boyfriend, 22 male, of 4 years. I excitedly told my family, and my sister-in-law, 30 female, asked if she could be my wedding planner. She said she has showed some interest in it and wanted to use my wedding as a test run. I gently declined, explained that we wanted a very small and intimate wedding, and while I would still love for her to be involved in some of the planning, I didn't need a planner. I kept my word. I asked her to be one of my bridesmaids, her daughter, 1 female, to be our flower girl, and I have included her in everything the other bridesmaids were included in. For some background, I was one of her bridesmaids when she got married to my brother. While I was excited, I wasn't included in anything that the other bridesmaids were included in. She told me what color to get my dress in, what time to be there to help set up, and who I was walking with, and that was that. So knowing that feeling, I made damn sure I didn't do the same to her. A month ago, I made appointments for my fiance and I to look at venues. Because my mom offered to pay for the venue as a wedding gift, she was invited, and so was my maid of honor. We made a day of it, took lots of photos, and my mom asked all the right questions that I didn't even think to ask. We had a great time, and my mom posted our selfies all over her Facebook excitedly. Please note, this was just the 4 of us. None of my bridesmaids were invited to this particular part of the planning. A week later, I had gone to my brother's house to catch up with my sister-in-law and visit my niece. She asked questions about the venues I looked at and what I was leaning towards more. As I was explaining it to her, she had to change the baby, and while gone, my brother blew up on me about how horrible I was being to her and how upset she was that she wasn't invited to look at venues with me. He said I was an asshole, especially because she offered to be our wedding planner. I tried to explain that I didn't mean to hurt her feelings, but it was just hard to get a word in, and he yelled at me about this up until she came back, where I quickly said my goodbyes and went home. Apparently, this made him even more upset, and he reached out to the rest of our siblings, who are agreeing that I am definitely an asshole. Was it really that bad that I didn't invite her? Should I apologize to her? Am I the asshole?
No.
Yeah, what?
Your sister-in-law is a little out of line, I think.
Yes. What?
No, she said she didn't invite any bridesmaids. It was just her mom.
Yeah.
Like,
I think sometimes when it comes to weddings, people get very excited, and even if they have good intentions, it could come off wrong.
Yeah.
And she was probably just jealous, and that comes from the love that she has for you and like how close she wants to be with you and that she wants to be involved. It could also come from the fact that she just wants more attention, but like if you're actually close with her, maybe she's just hurt that she missed out on like spending time with you and doing this important thing with you.
Yeah.
So maybe she did have good intentions, and the sister-in-law isn't the one that blew up on you. Your brother was. So maybe the sister-in-law was just a little bit sad about it.
Yeah.
And then the brother was like, my wife is sad, you're an asshole.
Yeah, he was probably just being protective of his wife.
So it's possible she had good intentions.
Yeah.
I suppose it's also possible that she just wants to be involved in the fun things regardless of what they are, and she just wants a piece of the fun, you know?
Yeah.
When she doesn't really have a right to it. I think that it isn't bad that she's upset, or like that she was a little bit sad that she wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think OP is the asshole because she doesn't owe anyone anything.
I agree.
Like, she could have gone and saw all the venues alone.
Yeah.
Or with whoever she wanted to. She didn't have to invite anyone else.
The venue thing's a weird hill to die on, I think, in this situation. Like, if it was the bachelorette party or, like, a bigger thing that everyone, maybe, like, the wedding dress day, too, a little bit. But the venue, I'm like, that, to me, is kind of a boring, quote-unquote boring part of that process, at least like on the lower scale of it. Not necessarily boring, but just like I wouldn't care to be invited to that.
Also, when you're planning your wedding, if you're close with your sisters and your mom or your aunt, whatever, I think you have the right to, I mean, regardless of what your situation is, you have the right to do whatever you want. But especially if you're really close with your family, you're allowed to pick certain things that are just reserved for your family and a little bit more intimate. For example, one of my friends got married and she's very close with her sisters and her mom. And for wedding dress shopping, it was just them. Yeah. She didn't invite any bridesmaids, any of the groom's family. No one was offended. It was just one thing that they wanted to be intimate and just the girls and their family. And it was so special for them. And I think that's fine. And It's possible that maybe the groom's mom or the groom's sisters were thinking like, oh, I wish I could have been there to do that. But they knew that she didn't have bad intentions. She wasn't trying to exclude anyone.
Mm-hmm.
She's just trying to do one thing that is special for her mom and her sisters.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes people don't see it like that. Like they think that they're purposefully being excluded when in reality,
it's not like that.
Yeah. Like when in reality, this event just wasn't for them.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's a spectrum of importance when it comes to weddings, and like certain things for certain people fall on it differently.
Yeah.
And you just got to let the bride like make that decision.
Yeah.
Because it's
totally.
her day. It's her day. Butt out. Scram.
Get a grip, sister-in-law.
No, literally get a grip.
The top comment was, she didn't want to be your planner. She wanted to use it as a test run and likely go off to the venues and vet them for herself. She can do that on her own time. Just because she offered her services, which doesn't sound like she has any knowledge in the area, doesn't mean you have to accept, not the asshole. That is so true.
That's true. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
I feel like if you don't work in the wedding industry, you have no clue how intricate and complicated wedding planning is. Like, I don't even understand it. And I go to so many weddings as my job every year. And I constantly learn about new things where I'm like, didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many things.
Like,
lot. How could someone with no experience possibly plan a wedding? The overall vote was not the asshole.
Okay,
and
good.
Her update was, thank you for your advice. I've gone ahead and told them that they have both been removed from our wedding party.
Wait, shook.
Whoa.
That took a turn.
They are invited as family only, and while we hope to see them there, at the end of the day, it's their choice. I explained that I will not treat them any differently than how I have been. However, any calls, texts, or in-person conversations about this topic will simply be ignored. I'm sure this will cause another crazy burst of texts from everyone. However, it will again be simply ignored. My maid of honor is my biological sister, and she's been pissed enough for me that I'm sure I won't hear anything from my other siblings anyway. If anyone wants to be my flower girl / boy, let me know.
Oh, she's taking it out on the niece and nephew.
Even removing the 1-year-old baby. Honestly, go off.
Go off, yeah.
You had to teach them a lesson, I guess.
She's making an example out of them.
That's so funny. I love that she's 23 and she's like, you want to talk shit? Well, now you're not going to be a part of it at all.
Go off, 23-year-old
Go
bride.
off. I love her. I just love that she kicked out the baby. That's so funny.
That's petty, but you know, you got to do it sometimes.
But I bet if she kicked out both of the parents, they wouldn't let the baby be in it anyway. Because like if a baby's in it, the parents have to basically be a part of it without even being a part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
It tracks. Oh, poor baby.